Hi guys, this is Tablet-News.com and I'm here with a great tablet, the Huawei MatePad Pro 12.2 2024 edition, complete with a stylus and also a glide keyboard, which is one of the best keyboards I've seen recently on tablets. So, we have a recommended price of around 1000 euros for the Wi-Fi only configuration with 12 gigs of RAM and half a terabyte storage. It also comes with the M Pencil stylus as a gift. It's a Harmony OS device and we have a brand new type of screen. It's called the Special Tandem OLED screen. And by the way, it has the paper mate protection, which reduces, as you probably know already, the reflections. Okay, so it's a 12-inch tablet, one of the slimmest and lightest on the market, and let's see what it can do. So, of course, this glide keyboard here can be used to protect the device when you hold it like this, but can also be used for input, and it even has a special slot to store your stylus, like that. How cool is that? Okay, now let's get to the actual device. I personally am not a huge fan of the yellow color that we have here, but some people may actually grow to appreciate it because it's different than the usual black or white. This one is a 12.2 incher and it's got a color which is called golden silk. It's supposed to be inspired by actual silk, and it's one of the slimmest tablets on the market. Yeah, so how slim is it, you may be wondering. It's just 5.5 millimeters in thickness and weighs 508 grams, which for a 12-incher, well, this sounds like measurement for a 10-incher. It's that slim and that light. The bezels are only 4.6 millimeters in thickness. They're pretty skinny, but good enough to rest your fingers on when you're holding the device like this. Now, we have a metallic frame here. My guess is that it's probably aluminum, and the body is kept light, also being made of, well, aluminum. Not sure what the back is. It could be fiberglass because I keep hearing that it's being used on modern tablets. There's magnesium alloy inside, and the camera module is inspired by the Huawei Mate phones for some reason. Okay, now aside from that, you can also find a black version of the tablet. It's just as elegant, and believe it or not, we have a fingerprint scanner on the side here for security purposes. So yeah, it's pretty cool, it's pretty good looking, it has narrow bezels, it's immersive, and it's got premium materials. Now the glide keyboard can be purchased separately, and it's one of the comfiest I've used. It's designed by Huawei, has this interesting angle here, which can totally hide the stylus like that. It can be open in steps like this, and it has an excellent trackpad here to move around the interface. It also has some extra buttons which you will not see on other devices, and a pretty comfy way of, well, attaching the product. So we take this to the back a bit, we do this, and here we are. It feels like an ultrabook almost at times. You can see the cursor here. We also have this button here for extras. We have function buttons at the top side, of course numeric buttons, and you can see how comfy it is once you get to typing in something like the note-taking application. Okay, so yeah, it checks out, it's pretty comfy, and I say the keys aren't soft and also they're not hard, so they're good enough for everyone. Okay, now next thing, we're going to talk about the display. Okay, so if you're talking about the display, I'm going to have to remove the device from this accessory here and pull out the stylus, snap it like this. I find it very hard to properly snap it because the magnetism isn't very sure for me. I have to try and find a proper magnetic area. Okay, let's put the keyboard to the side for now and focus on the actual device. Now, as far as the screen is concerned, this one is an OLED PaperMate 12.2 incher with a Full HD Plus resolution, which is actually 2800 over 1840 pixels. The aspect is 3:2, and we got a 92% screen to body ratio, which is the highest on the market right now. This is what the video looks like. As you can see, it's quite immersive, and the bezels are only 4.6 millimeters in thickness. There's also HDR with a peak brightness of 2000 nits, and DCI-P3 sRGB 144 Hz refresh rate for gaming, touch sampling rate 480 Hz, 2:1 contrast. It's a perfect experience, and as you can see, it's got very bright and vivid colored wide view angles, and of course excellent contrast, which is also aided by the fact that we have, once again, we have the PaperMate thing going on. We measure the brightness and achieve 870 lux units. It's the third brightest tablet we've tested. The previous MatePad Pro was a bit brighter, and there was also a Galaxy Tab model slightly above it. It's the Galaxy Tab S9 FE, just so you know. The leader remains the Huawei MatePad Pro 13.2 with 950 lux units, but we surpassed several other Xiaomi MatePads and even iPads. Now, the biggest advantage here is that there is no reflection. As you can see, I have some lights around me, studio lights, and you will not see them reflected in this panel, which is excellent if you're using it in the sun. It feels like something you should see for yourself, and it feels a bit like a pen to paper experience. Now, speaking of pen, this is the M Pencil 3rd generation that we have here, which is good enough for drawing, for writing, and for, well, other purposes. You do something like this, you select the pen, you can do drawing, highlighting. It's a very natural experience courtesy of the Nearlink technology, which lets you, well, do better connectivity. It has 16,384 levels of pressure, where the rivals only have 4,000 and things like that. So you can use it for Huawei Notes, and you can also use it to draw around in the new Go Paint application, which is this one here. It actually offers you features which you would find on a pricier application for money, for a subscription. Some of them inspired by Adobe. You can see a lot of brushes here. You can see a lot of methods of editing. You have a wand, you have even layers to work with. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Now this is the stylus, and we go further. We've covered it. There are tutorials in Go Paint. Let's go back to it for a bit. And aside from tutorials, you can also have 150 brushes, 80 parameters, resource designings like lazy share. And yeah, it's the first digital art application which supports an ultra large canvas which goes up to 8K. You can work with 500 layers in 2K, 110 layers in 6K, and the sky's the limit. You have freeform, you have a lot of options here, and these are the layers which I mentioned before. Pretty impressive for a free application in the Huawei App Gallery. Now, as far as the inner specs are concerned, you can find them here. About tablet, it runs on Harmony OS, has 12 gigs of RAM, half a terabyte of storage, and it's a processor that it's a interesting 12-core Kirin, a mystery Kirin. They don't reveal it usually, probably from the 9000 series. And we also have benchmarks for this CPU. Let me just go here. Benchmarks, have quite a lot of them, even though it's Harmony OS. Okay, so let's see. Antutu 10. In Antutu 10 we're the 3rd place. We got surpassed by the iPad 10 from 2 years ago and the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro. We beat all the other MatePads, the Redmi Pad Pro and the Galaxy Tab S9 FE. When it comes to the Geekbench 6, in the single core test we got beaten by the Xiaomi and the iPad. We beat all the other Huawei's and Samsungs. In the multi-core one, 2nd place only to the iPad. When it comes to the GPU, we're once again doing decently. Pretty close to previous MatePads, which were flagships, but not a huge gaming tablet. You're just going to play casual titles and even high-end titles with the graphics on probably medium to high. So yeah. Now, we also did a throttling test because we were curious to see how the CPU behaves, and let's see how that turned out. Okay, so it lost some performance here. It lost 24% performance after 15 minutes of running it, which means that it's inferior to the other MatePad, so be careful when you're running hardcore games. Now, let's see the temperature. It's high, but not hugely high. It's 36.9 degrees Celsius. There's no overheating here. I see some Galaxy Tabs here going past the 40 mark, so yeah, those have a tendency to overheat. Well, this one doesn't. And now I think it's time to talk about the battery. Now, you may be scared of the fact that we're dealing here with a tablet which is so slim, below 6 millimeters in thickness, but the battery is pretty hefty. We're dealing here with a 10,100 mAh unit. It's actually quite impressive. It charges at 100 watts with a bundle adapter in the box. Huawei tells us we need 40 minutes for an 85% charge, 55 for a full charge, but I'm not going to listen to them. I'm going to do my own tests, which I actually did. Okay, so when it comes to video playback, it is a 2nd place tablet with 16 hours and 40 minutes. I would say we're doing pretty fine. And it's only 2nd to the Galaxy Tab S9 FE Plus, which climbed at 20 hours. We beat the iPad 10 from 2 years ago, previous Huawei MatePads, we beat previous Samsung tablets. So I would say we're doing fine again. As far as the PC mark is concerned, it's a decent result with 11 hours and 53 minutes. Maybe almost just as good as the playback one, almost. 8th spot. It's a bit below the Huawei MatePad 11.5S. We got beaten by the MatePad 11. and the MatePad 11.5. So yeah, there are Huawei tablets that can do a bit better. At least we beat the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra and the Redmi Pad Pro. When it comes to the charger, 1 hour and 1 minute is just fine for a tablet. You can see here we just got beaten by the crazy Xiaomi Pad 6S Pro and its 120 watt charging. Keep in mind that after 30 minutes you're at 65%, which is actually not bad at all. Now the sound is very impressive, and I figured out there was something special here when I fired up the device and I heard its initial animation and sound. So we do have indeed something special. Let me just search the sound test. The bass is exquisite, and I've heard laptops doing poorer than this one. It's actually been a trend. Recent Xiaomi and Samsung and Huawei tablets have had excellent sounds. Okay, so what we have here is a system that involves quad speakers, 8 drivers, a rear chamber 3.5 cc, excellent sound, no distortion, perfect highs, perfect lows. I'm actually blown away. The tablet got a certification from SGS for the wide frequency and also minimal distortion. There's also AI noise cancelling and smart audio mixer for your calls. So yeah, plus an amplifier, mid-range power with a 100% booster. The figures, well, let's see the figures. So we go here, we have volume power, we have 89.8 decibels at the top and 87.1 decibels at the bottom. You may see it placed among the first 20 tablets, but for me, it's one of the best sounds I've heard all year. It's basically top 10 material, if not even top 5. We're at the level of a MatePad 11 on paper, but I'm quite blown away by the actual real-life experience. In games, it's 97.1 decibels, which is between the Xiaomi Pad 6S Pro 12.4 and the MatePad 11. It's a very rich sound, and it's excellent for movies, for games, for podcasts. Now, I'm not a big fan of cameras and using cameras, especially on such large tablets. I'm a fan of how they integrated the front one here in a very discreet manner without a notch. Okay, so let's see what we have here. So yeah, for video calls, we have this camera here, which actually I'm tempted to look at the specs to see what it is. By the way, the CPU here is listed as the Kirin 9000S. The front camera is a 16 megapixel unit, which actually impresses me. And we also have AI noise cancel, and yeah, should help us with the video calls a lot. At the back side, there's a dual camera and LED flash. We have a 13 megapixel main camera with face detection autofocus and an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera. It shoots 4K video, has LED flash, has HDR, panorama. So yeah. The front camera, by the way, has f2.2 aperture, full HD capture, and you can see some of the other options here. We have quite a few. We even have AI features, AI camera. We have a more section with Pro, slow-mo, panorama, documents. This is the video section. This is the photo section. We have a portrait section, a night section, and even an aperture if you want to take blurred photos. Of course, we did some pictures here and there, and they're actually not bad. I usually tell people that tablet cameras are around the level of a mid-range phone. This one can fight maybe the Samsung Galaxy A35 or Huawei Nova device, the Nova 12i or something like that. Okay, we're done with the camera. Let's talk about connectivity. This is a Wi-Fi only version. There is not a cellular version as far as I know. It has Wi-Fi dual band, there's Bluetooth 5.2, GPS, GLONASS, BDS, there's no NFC and no radio. At least the port here is a solid one, USB-C 3.1 with OTG. I did a speed test and let's see how it panned out. So the speed test is here. Okay, so the results are quite excellent. 800 MB per second download, 628 MB per second in upload. Okay, and now let's talk about the OS and UI. Okay, so I'm no stranger to Harmony OS. As you can see here, it still relies on a core based on Android that can install apps from APKs. I've previously tested the Huawei MatePad 11.5S and the experience feels pretty similar. I tested it back in June, and yeah, this runs on Harmony OS 4.2.0. So as you can see, we have a taskbar here at the bottom with I would say recently accessed apps and often accessed apps. Of course, you can swipe up and see the multitasking recent section. If you swipe down from the left, notifications. If you swipe down from the right, you're going to see the quick settings area. There's wireless projection, a do not disturb mode, an ebook mode, eye comfort, and a navigation dock. Now, when you're inside an app, like for example the video player, you can also do a bunch of multitasking. So I feel that some of the apps can be used in a split screen, and of course you can also use this mode. This mode lets you overlap an app on top of, well, other applications. So you can also be in Notes. By the way, we have a redundancy here. We have two note-taking applications. The Notes, the Huawei Notes, and the regular Notes. You can watch a video here while you're doing this thing, and you can also, once again, do the whole multitasking. You can minimize the window, switch to full screen, close the window, and more. And you can also tap here and enlarge it like this. So if you are multitasking, you go into an app, you swipe from the side, you can see some apps here, you press this, and here we are. This is what multitasking is like. This is a split screen in a two-way. You can also drag an extra window on top by opening it with the whole, floating thingy. To the leftmost home screen, we have a concentration of useful tips, news, shortcuts, things like that. This is called the Today view, as far as I know. And the settings also include a bunch of interesting features. So we have the connectivity features here. We have Super Device, which finds all sorts of devices around, Huawei phones, headphones, speakers, etc. You can share the clipboard on those. You have extra connections here. You have the home screen and style, which you can change. Display and brightness with quite a few settings, including smart resolution and refresh rate, sound and vibration with some extra sounds here, notification, biometrics and password. There's a fingerprint scanner here, but also face recognition, apps and services. There's the battery with battery percentage and more, security, storage, digital balance, so you don't spend too much on your tablet. The Huawei Assistant, which is Celia with AI voice, AI lens, AI touch, AI tips, and AI search, has actually been expanded to integrate more feature. This is a seamless interaction via voice. The lens is able to recognize objects around you and scan QR codes. You can hold two fingers on the screen to identify objects, which is actually a reminder of, circle to search, maybe. You also have some AI tips and AI search. You just swipe down on the home screen and start looking for things with the power of AI. Okay, so as I said before, there are two note-taking applications here. One is called Notepad and one is called Notes. This is Huawei Notes. You can create a new note, a folder, import a PDF, and even highlight on it. You can work on a blank or ruled thing and start it like this. Of course, the pen will be crucial here. It offers extra accessibility. The tools are placed in a handier manner now. You can have the marker here. You can have the ball pen. And there's also text recognition if you need to. So from handwriting to digital text. You can create custom colors and you can open up multiple notes, and you also have split screen for notes and note replay. And you can also record sound while you're doing this with this option here, which is quite cool. So if you're in a class, for example, you can do that. You can see the multiple notes here. You have some extra options here. Take a snippet, annotate. So that's pretty cool. Oh, by the way, you saw earlier, it says here, he, gu. It identified my hey guys. Let's try something more coherent. Maybe delete this. Okay, and write something like tablets are cool. It should identify that as well as written text. Okay, so that's one app you're going to use here. Of course, there's also the Notepad, which I've known for years now, which is better for drawing, but the best for drawing is definitely the Go Paint. So Go Paint has evolved quite a bit. It has been actually underestimated by a lot of people, but you can do a lot with it for creativity. So let's say we start with a blank here. Check it out. You first select a resolution and a format. You can work with 4K. Okay, so in Go Paint, you can work with a lot of textures, and as you can see, they change depending on the brush, which is pretty impressive. You also have the oil painting. A lot of textures to play with here, and of course a lot of layers, materials. There's also special stuff like willow leaf. You can also fill in parts of the images if you want to, and you can even sprinkle something on it. There was a special option here, which once you selected it, this is the spatter, which actually I'm curious to see that. You can actually add 3 branches. And there was one with where we can sprinkle stuff, pigmented powder, spatter spray paint. Let's see if this one works. I saw an artist doing this and he actually was able to sprinkle it with paint, something like this. Anyway, still getting accustomed to it. Okay, so it uses a special Fantian painting engine 2.0 and it emulates a proper experience of an artist and its canvas, her canvas. It has up to 110 layers in 6K. You can do huge canvases in 8K. You can watch a YouTube tutorial. You can even I can draw something, and I'm pretty poor at drawing, and even I can do a work of art and do something like this. This is actually a tutorial which is very useful because it gets you in the whole layer thing: hue, saturation, balance, color map, motion blur, perspective blur, bloom, and more. Let's hopefully not spoil this. Okay, undo strokes. Perfect. Okay, so that's pretty much it as far as the artsy experience goes. Now, we have here micro GNG box. You may have noticed that we have the Google services and Google apps. I have Chrome here, I have Gmail here, we have YouTube here. So yeah, you can definitely download them from the Huawei app gallery thanks to the whole micro GNG box thing. You just write here, you can even say Google Maps, and you just need to install one application of this and you'll be all set. You log into your Google account and things will be available from the start. You can have stuff like YouTube, your Google Drive, YouTube Music, YouTube Kids, Gboard, Pinterest, Google Chrome, Discord, Calendar, Classroom, Google Meet, Google One. You have WhatsApp Business, Waze Navigation, WhatsApp, Spotify, Google Home, Google Search. You have Facebook and X available here. Facebook Messenger, Google Docs is actually pretty cool to have because you can share your work with your colleagues. Of course, via App Gallery, you can also install apps like Fashion Days. You can install Netflix, ING Home Bank. You can have HBO Max. Let's find HBO Max. I see there's Revolut here, there's HBO Max, Disney Plus, so there's no impediments to actually enjoy content as you please. Now it's time for the verdict of this ultra cool tablet, and let me just bring back the keyboard. As I bring back the keyboard, I should probably mention the pros and cons. On the pro side, have a premium build and a solid construction. I would say that the screen is quite bright and has that protection against the sunlight, that paper made thing, which Huawei claims you're going to see very often on tablets starting from now. Aside from that, it offers an excellent keyboard accessory with a glide keyboard and an excellent stylus. The near link is a good idea. There's a matte finish, there's a large battery with fast charging, exquisite speakers as well, and the Go Paint app with all its tools and layers is fantastic to have. I cannot believe it's free. That's one of the pros. Okay, so those are the pros, and the cons. The fingerprints can get annoying on the screen, but there is a bundled rag to clean it. The price is a bit high at the debut. The fingerprint scanner placement isn't very intuitive. There's no Wi-Fi 6, there's no Wi-Fi 7, and there is no option for 4G or 5G. However, for productivity in the creative arts and editing, this is one of the best tablets out there. It offers you the lightest 12-inch tablet on the market with very narrow bezels, with powerful cameras, with a whole Google package, even though officially shouldn't have it. You can do streaming here, and of course multimedia and note-taking, including some audio stuff, handwriting, handwriting recognition. So a lot of productivity is available here. If you're spending a lot of time in the sun, this is finally a screen that doesn't have reflection problems. That's it from us. This has been the review of the Huawei MatePad Pro 12.2 2024 edition. Goodbye.